Good morning, all of you. In the last class, we discussed about the transmission medium. What is a transmission medium? Transmission medium is a, you can say, a guided media and unguided media we discussed in the last class. Transmission medium is a medium through which we can communicate the data, we can transmit the data from sender to receiver. And that transmission medium of two type, guided media and unguided media. In the last class already we have discussed. There are various characteristics of guided media. There are various applications of guided and unguided media. In this class now we further proceed the topic of transmission medium. First we are taking the guided transmission medium in this lecture, and later on in the further classes we discussed about the non-guided media or unguided media, you can say. Guided transmission medium is what? Guided transmission medium is a medium which is covered by you can say plastic covering or polyvinyl covering, PVC covering, thick covering. And capacity of transmission medium basically depend on the distance, how much distance covered by the transmission medium, and type of connection, whether the medium is point-to-point connection, that is a dedicated connection, or the multi-point connection, just like your extension cord or something else. These are the three types of basically guided transmission medium. Firstly we discussed twisted wire pair, coaxial cable, and you can say optical fiber. So twisted wire pair, coaxial cable, and optical fiber. First is twisted wire pair. Have you seen that what is a twisted wire pair? No. Twisted wire pair basically consists of just like your normal copper wire which is tilted on one another. This is a two insulated copper wires which is covering by the spiral pattern so that the electromagnetic interference between the two wires can be minimized. These twisted wire pairs basically used in your at homes, at offices, to connect your daily appliances like microwave, washing machine, your telephone wire, you can say your microwave, etc. But over the distance, to carry voice as well as data communication, they create some noise. They create, for example, weather is changed or some external interference is there, then their audio quality, their noise, their audio quality will be lower due to the noise interference. They are the basically low frequency transmission medium through which lower medium of data can be transmitted. So that is a twisted wire pair. But basic advantage of these twisted wire pairs are these are very inexpensive and readily available. At any electrical shop you can purchase these twisted wire pairs, and they are flexible and lightweight, easy to work with an install. Easily जो है technical persons are available to install these twisted wire pairs. Next is disadvantage. Basically these twisted wire pairs are susceptible to interference and noise. For example, some weather is changed, there is a blowing wind, fast blowing winds, so that the noise can be captured easily by these twisted wire pairs. So they create a attenuation problem. So to solve this problem, we use repeaters in every 2-3 kilometers or 5-6 kilometers, depending on the type of signal, whether we are transmitting the analog signal or the digital signal through these twisted wire pairs. And they have the relatively low bandwidth, as already we discussed in the last classes. Bandwidth means the total capacity of the channel to carry the data. That is the meaning of bandwidth, which is very low. So twisted wire pair, you can say, is easily available, inexpensive, readily installed, and most commonly used twisted wire pairs at homes and offices. Another guided media we discussed, that is the coaxial cable. Coaxial cable nowadays is very common. Coaxial cable you can see in your television cables, which is signal is transmitted through the satellite or through the cable TV network. We opt for the connection, as well as local area networks we use to connect the 2 or more computers in a LAN. We use normally coaxial cable, not twisted wire pair or any other technology. As well as for the telephone network we also use coaxial cable. Basically, coaxial cable is a cable which consists of this like of a structure. This is the coaxial layers. You can see this is the copper or aluminum conductor. Copper conductor, you can say, you already know copper is a good conductor of electricity. So this is the central wire, or sorry, central space. This is the central part. This central part is a copper wire, just like thick copper wire. Outer covering, you can say this outer covering is known as an insulating material, because copper is good conductor of electricity. So to protect this, we use this insulating material, that is this covering. This covering is the insulating material. Against this insulating material, there is a sheath. This is a braided sheath, covered wired sheath, that is shielded by the insulating material. And this outer jacket is known as a polythene, or you can say polyethylene. This is the outer jacket, which is covered by the polyethylene material, which is again insulating material, so that current cannot be circulated to the user through this. So this is the structure basically. So coaxial cable has an inner conductor, that is the, you can say, copper wire. This is the inner conductor, you can say copper wire. This is the inner conductor, surrounded by a braided mesh. As you can see in this figure, this is the braided mesh. Basically, this braided mesh structure is just like meshing structure. You can see this structure whenever you open this coaxial cable at your home. Both conductors share a common center axial, hence the term is coaxial, because both the conductors, this is the common center. Axial means this is the common cable, this is the coaxial cable. So basically these are the layers of the coaxial cable, or the structure through which you can understand what looks like this coaxial cables. Basically, as I told you, we can use these coaxial cables at home, for cable TV network, in our offices to connect the local area network. Bigger advantage of this, they can carry the higher bandwidth. Twisted wire pair, we can see there are 3000 megahertz, or you can say bandwidth is 3000 hertz only, not megahertz, only 3000 hertz data can carry by this twisted wire pair. But coaxial cables can carry higher bandwidth of data, that is up to 400 to 600 megahertz, and 10,800 voice communications are carried by this. Again, these also can be trapped by easily by pros and cons. They can be again easily trapped by the noise signals and any other interference, but much less susceptible to interference than the twisted wire pair. Twisted wire pair can more susceptible to interference, blowing hairs, noise, and etc. But coaxial cable are much lesser than this. But again, these are the bulky in size, so there is a problem to carry, and they have the higher attenuation rate, makes it expensive over long distances. If you want to connect the data over the 25,000 kilometer data to transmit that, so there is a higher attenuation problem, so it makes slightly expensive method of data communication. This is the fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cable, relatively new transmission medium used by telephone companies in place of long distance trunk lines. Whenever we want to transmit the data for the long distance, for example, if you want to transmit the data from Jaipur to Chennai, so there is a fiber optic cable is a newly transmission medium method, relatively new, which are more and more telephone companies are using this method instead of this coaxial cable, because private companies communicate the data, implement a local data communication through this optical fiber cable for the long distances, just like Reliance and some other companies. What is the concept of this optical fiber? Optic means light. It means data is transmitted through the light source. Through light source data is transmitted. So it requires a light source with injection laser diode, that is known as a ILD, injection laser diode, or light emitting diode. This is the LED. So through the ILD or LED, data is transmitted through the optical fiber cable. This is the structure, consists of 3 concentric sections. First is a fiber core. This is basically made up of glass or silicon. This is the fiber central core. This fiber core is covered or cladded by the glass or plastic covering, and this is the outer covering, plastic jacket. And again, this is the insulating material. So this is the fiber core central wire, again cladding or glass or plastic cladding, and then plastic jacket. These are the three layers of fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cables are of three types: single mode fiber, multi-mode graded fiber, and multi-mode step index fiber. We will discuss these topics later on whenever we discuss about the structure of the fiber optic in detail. But first we discussed this advantage and disadvantage. Basically, fiber optic cable provide greater capacity bandwidth of the up to 2 Gbps. Just like twisted wire pair, only 3000 Hz we can transmit the data. In coaxial cable, we can transmit 400 to 600 megahertz data. But in case of fiber optic cable, we can transmit up to the 2 Gbps data. That is much more larger. Smaller size, they are very lighter weight because they are hair thin like threads. Therefore, they are very small in size, and they create lower attenuation problem. For twisted wire pair have very high attenuation problem, coaxial cable much lesser, but fiber optic and much lesser lower level of attenuation. Immunity to environmental interference means there is a no noise interference or some other interferences. They are the highly secure due to tap faculty and lack of signal radiation. This means signal is not radiated, only single radiation is possible. So optical fiber are much more advantageous. Disadvantage is actually this is the new type of transmission medium, so expensive over short distances. If you want to transmit the data for the few kilometers, then we not suggest to use the fiber optic cable. These are only for the higher distances. Since this is a new technology, so there are skilled installers are not readily available anytime. If you want to install the fiber optic cables, they need highly skilled installers, and for problem solving solutions they need trained persons, skilled personnel. Additional nodes is difficult. If you want to add some additional node in fiber optic cable, then it is slightly difficult because they are made up of glass. So these slide we discussed about the guided transmission medium. I think you understand, you can what are the guided transmission medium. They are the twisted wire pair, coaxial cable, and fiber optic, and what are the advantages and disadvantages, and what is the structure of these guided transmission medium. In another class we further discussed about the later on topics. Thank you so much.